Ayubowan Social Space. We would like to warmly welcome you to our social space. We use different words to describe the working class and laborers. However, all these words mean one category of people, and that is one representation. The meaning of this is that we talk about the labor class or the people who provide labor as one entity. The Industrial Revolution happened in the 18th century, and then many small-scale village-level industries were transformed into large-scale industries. And as a result, a large number of workers got employment opportunities in these factories. And under this situation, the workers had to face different issues, and they had to provide their labor for a low salary amidst minimum facilities and without any service conditions. Can we imagine the situation that these people faced? They had to sell their labor for a minimum salary, and further, these workers had to work 14 to 16 hours per day. They had to engage in all this work without enjoying any of their rights. They had to sell their labor without proper entitlements for leave, a suitable salary, and without any regulations related to this matter. Can we even imagine the situation they underwent? Here, there were females who represented the working class, and the females got a lesser salary when compared with the males, and sometimes even children of an age like 13 had been deployed in work, and they had to face a lot of injustices. And in this backdrop, the workers started to get together and to present their demands in a united manner. And in the labor movement started thus, and here these gatherings of workers later got extended, and the trade union movement came to the front, and the only link that connected the laborers was their labor. However, they didn't get a fair value or a reasonable price for the labor which was given. What's the reason? The major reason is that the employees were economically strong and the bargaining power of the workers were minimal when compared with the powers of the employers. What can be the result of this situation? Under this situation, the workers had to agree with all the conditions laid down by the employer, and they had to sell their labor in an unreasonable manner, and we call exploitation of labor. They had to work, or rather sell their labor for a low salary. This is exploitation. Then, what did the governments do? And then the government didn't intervene to meta justice to the laborers as a result of the economic policy and other policies adopted by the government during that time. As a result, the working class had to suffer and undergo this immense pressure continuously. And during this time, the European states adopted a unrestricted economic policy, and as a result of that, the laborers faced a lot of injustices. The governments didn't intervene to settle these things. Therefore, the laborers were continuously exploited and pressurized. However, the employees were only focused on their profit, and there was a revolution in the world history in 1970, which is called the Russian Revolution. This is called the October Revolution. The people of Russia could not endure the suppression of King Tsar, who ruled the country at the time. And here the people organized under the leadership of V.I. Lenin and his Bolshevik party. We can't forget this. The major leadership regarding the Russian Revolution was taken by the Bolshevik party, which was led by V.I. Lenin. We can't forget about this situation. And also, here we can't forget Karl Marx as the prominent character behind this. In 1943, the Communist Declaration was presented, and after that, the Communist Declaration was taken forward. That was the impact of the Russian Revolution, and there were the laborers acquired the ruling power of the Western society, including countries like France and Germany, got scared, or rather indirectly threatened as a result of this revolution. That is because the rulers came to understand that exercising immense pressure on the laborers, more and more would originate their own governments as a result of their collective movement. And here they were afraid of this new tendency, and the rulers started to understand about this risk. However, they also realized the need of an international intervention here. And based on this background, they got together around the labor organization, and as a result of this, the labor organization was established. So the factor behind the origin of the labor organization was the Russian Revolution, and the United Nations organization was established in 1920 with the intervention of the international community, and the World Labour Charter was prepared before the origin of the United Nations organization. So now we can consider as to what factors were resolved by this World Labour Charter. Labor should not be considered as a commodity. The most important factor here is that labor should not be considered as a commodity. That is very significant principle here, because what is sold here is the human labor, and human labor is not a commodity. All the laborers have the right to get an advocate salary for their living. Here, as the second factor, it emphasizes that the workers should get an advocate salary which is sufficient for them to attend to their needs, and here they have a right to get an advocate salary. Females should be entitled for an equal pay with regard to equal work. Here the third factor is very important, because previously too we have stated that the women always receive a low salary if they engage in similar work, and if the services provided by males and females are equal, the females too should get an equal salary, and this is the third factor emphasized by the convention. Actually, this factor could be the most important factor here. Right to expression and the freedom to have connections with others. Under the fourth factor, the right to expression and the freedom to have connections with others are emphasized. And this is an idea about freedom, but freedom of expression includes the freedom to express about their rights, and especially the work-related rights. So all these matters were resolved as the ILO Convention. With the origin of the United Nations Organization in 1920, the Labour Organization too became important as a global level organization. This was established with the participation of 35 countries initially. They conduct meetings annually with the participation of employees, laborers, and the representatives of the governments. And here the labour charters of the International Labour Organization are presented, and the recommendations are issued to the member countries. And after that, the member countries, as per the rules prevailing in their own countries, establish these recommendations as labor laws. And even today, the labor laws required for the uplifting the living conditions of the workers and the laborers living in the member countries are drafted by the International Labour Organization. The International Labour Organization provides the guidance required for this purpose. Therefore, we can say that it has made a significant impact and a contribution to the whole world. That means it's the United Nations Organization and the International Labour Organization that always attempt to promote the living condition of the workers' community living around the world in their member countries. Now let's see what is impelled by the word laborer. Who are laborers? Laborers or the workers are the people who do a certain work, and here they may sell their labor either mentally or physically. What do you mean by saying that they sell their mental and physical labor? The people who provide their labor mentally: executive grade officers, accountants, banking officers, managers, and officers of director boards. The executive grade officers, accountants, banking officers, managers, and the director board members provide their contribution mentally. People provide their labor as laborers working on roads, as electricians, and as many other categories. And they are all workers. And as a social space, we would like to ensure your safety, and you have a right to know about your safety. And you have now the facility to get the latest information through social space. Social space. This is your space. Your protection is your right. Please join with us to reach to the latest information on Socialist Face. Subscribe us. Press the bell icon too.